is very interesting to me about this matchup, Greninja versus Sonic, is that one of the most common escape options for Sonic is to like up B out of situations. So for example, they'll hit your shield with spin dash, up B out. Greninja can match that just by jumping. Like their double jump, or their full hop I should say, is basically a flip kick. He just leaves the situation, goes extremely high, is all but invulnerable. So that already denies like one of Sonic's main defensive tools. And then like you said before, Greninja can mix that verticality with some of that horizontal pressure as well, the dash attack, the shuriken, just some amazing tools. So really wonder, will Greninja's aggression be enough to break down Sonic's defense? I think that is the dynamic that we have to look for in this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. And so far, I was going to say it looks like Tarik is off to a strong start, but Super Striker immediately answering back. If there's one thing that Sonic is actually not short on, despite a character of his speed, it's damage. The character has a surprising amount of buttons that hit really, really hard for how fast the character is. You know, he clips you with a spin dash, and suddenly you're taking over 30%. You know, these back airs, big, meaty, powerful hits as well.
For sure. And already we see a demonstration, sorry for interrupting you, we see a demonstration of the shuriken interrupting that spin dash, holding on to the horizontal control. But Super Striker, he's holding on to what works. The spin dash is still coming out. And Tarik, I mean, you said it before, you're a big fan of doing what works until your opponent proves that it shouldn't. And that's exactly what Tarik needs right now. Just throw out the shurikens, force Super Striker to do something else. And so far, Tarik has been doing that well. He's been asserting control over the neutral, has a solid lead right here, especially considering the difference in KO power. Talking about KO power, up smash out of shield, you don't see that often. But right there, right then, was the perfect opportunity for that up smash. Just 1-2, the water blades coming through.
Yeah, superb use of the up smash after that parry right there. We a nice lead, and now it's up to Super Striker to kind of take the initiative to find a way to kind of make his way back in this and close the gap. But of course, Tarik with this Greninja, with these shurikens, really doesn't need to play a particularly committal game. I like the idea with the chase with the up B, just to try to catch Tarik off guard, but unfortunately doesn't find a major opening.
And Super Striker, he's struggling to find a KO. And this is one of those things we talked about before as well, where we said, okay, Greninja has really good aggression, but you have to be precise about it, because if you mess up, your defense isn't great. And that is where Tarik actually can flex his player skill, because we've seen Tarik in this advantage, and so far, he hasn't really gotten stuck in this advantage, right? He did get called out on that double jump right there. Very well done by Super Striker. But is it gonna be enough? So far, like you said, Sonic can do the damage, but it's not looking good. Counter has a cheeky mix-up, and if you had done it in Smash 4, you would have gotten spin dash down aired. I've been on the receiving end of many of those. Unfortunately, as far as I'm aware, not possible in this game. Super Striker instead gonna take a good chunk of damage, and look at the damage percent differential right now. It's already looking a lot closer.
Yes, closing that gap is Super Striker, but you kind of see the overall game plan of Tarik. He's not shying away from it. He's trying his best to kind of maintain center stage, whittle away with those shurikens. When he sees that Super Striker is in kind of a burst range where he could potentially punish, he looks for those dash attacks, looks for those down tilts. And sometimes, you know, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't quite work out. Super Striker might be slightly out of range, and I think that's happening a little bit more often now. And a big forward smash coming out from Super Striker to take the lead so far in this game.
Oh my goodness. He hit Greninja before Greninja reappeared. That doesn't happen often, but when it happens, you know that was a hard read, as hard as they get, basically. And now Tarik kind of struggling for that KO, and I feel like both these players are kind of similar in that regard, that whenever the KO is on the table, they'll be looking for it. We saw Tarik dropping some pressure, looking for those down tilts at Deek's percentage range. We saw Tarik almost dropping to Freetox's nest, looking for those throws when his throw started KOing. And right now, Super Striker just being the first to find the KO, Tarik kind of struggling, and we can see him committing hard to these forward airs, to these up smashes, to these forward smashes, and that is what is hurting him right now.
Yeah, at the moment he's having a little bit of a hard time. Up until that fair, he was having a little bit of a hard time finding not just killing blows, but just crucial hits in general. Meanwhile, Super Striker racking up that damage and that homing attack as well for Super Striker. We haven't really mentioned it too much, but it's been putting in a lot of work for him at that mid-range as well, just calling out a lot of the movement options that his opponents have been doing and a lot of the defensive attempts to escape. It's very kind of, it really messes with your opponent's defense and overall timing. The homing attack comes with the risk, of course, if you get that ground bounce, there's a lot of recovery on it, but Super Striker using it really, really well so far.
Yep, I agree. It's a mix-up, and when it works very well. Double forward smash, of course, the Hypno Smash. We don't know any better here. We don't know any better. You got him into it. He just starts twirling it around, and you get hypnotized, and it's so enticing. Maybe I can whiff punish it. Maybe my Greninja dash attack is fast. No, you're not. You're not. And just like that, Super Striker, like we said, both of these players tend to look for the KO as soon as it's available. Super Striker this time getting the better of that type of paradigm. And an early lead, very, very nice. It's going to give you counter pick advantage through the rest of the set, which, especially with DSR, can be a huge, huge boon.
Yeah, absolutely. Just, yeah, at the end of that game, Sonic really made the statement of I'm the fastest thing alive. You can't keep up with me. Don't even try. It's my birthday. I'm 30 this year. What are you gonna do? I'm an old man playing this young man's game. You can't keep up with me. I got all the knowledge on deck.
I want to look like that when I'm 30 years old.
I personally don't. I think it'd be quite terrifying. I don't know how.
Look at him, dude. give me those proportions, dude. I'm all for it. I mean, you don't have to believe it, but that's what peak performance looks like. That's it. So, Super Striker now taken to Pokemon Stadium, one of Tarik's favorite stages. Tarik having so much room to maneuver on the wide stage that is Pokemon Stadium 2, and a lot of room to full hop as well because of the platform layout, leaving a lot of room to basically full hop on people on the stage, while also having a lot of room to retreat to in case you're ever in a bad scenario. So far, though, a little bit of a lead for Super Striker, not much. The homing attack, again, kind of zone breaking, and most importantly, disarming Tarik's offense, right? Tarik, as such an aggressive player, if you can intercept him before he can set up his aggression, that is huge, especially against Greninja, right? Because Greninja's aggression, it is either like bait and punish with the dash attack, or it is a setup, like a landing aerial. So there's nothing really that Greninja can do, not a lot at least, to intercept the opponent. So if you can get him before he can set up his bait and punish, before he can set up his landing aerials, that really is where Greninja is weakest.
Yeah, the character doesn't have the most active frames on his hitboxes, so you can't just kind of put something out in the way of Sonic outside of, the Shuriken. You can't really put something to intercept that homing attack and various other buttons preemptively. This isn't Palutena we're talking about here. Greninja generally requires a little bit more precision in place.
Yeah, for sure. And precision is hard when your opponent is a 30-year-old speed demon that goes faster than most fighter jets, as far as I'm aware. Though I might be outdated on my Sonic lore. It's been a hot minute. So far, we see that speed coming to great use for Super Striker, finding the forward throw, almost ending it. Nice final hit right there to hold on to the advantage, and here comes the ledge trap. Tries to get that back air on the jump read. It's a Super Striker classic, just going for those jump reads on the ledge, and it keeps working out because he also scares you with those forward tilts, with that forward smash to cover your ledge options. So it's kind of like a pseudo or pseudo 50-50. So far, though, that is working out quite well for Super Striker. Finds that stock, and now Sonic with a lead. We've talked about it plenty of times. Very, very strong. And look at what that lead is doing for him. Just combo after combo, as Tarik has to commit to somehow get back into this game. 84, 90% on Tarik. It just keeps racking up.
Yeah, and all this damage is pretty much uncontested so far. It's so difficult, and it's so difficult to just contest Sonic when he has this lead. It's so hard fighting from behind. Tarik urgently needs to find the stock as quickly as possible, but Super Striker is not allowing that to happen. Excellent backer right there, and that'll be 3 stocks to 1 for Super Striker so far.
Yep, Super Striker Yep, looking so dominant so far. The backer as well doesn't even need to do anything. Just rack a little bit of damage. The forward tilt comes out for Tarik. It gets him back into the game. But this is go time, right? You need to get this win right here because going down 0-2, there's only one way to make it back from that, and that is an insane amount of momentum. So getting that win on deck would be a great boon for Tarik so far. It's looking pretty good, honestly. He's getting hit after hit. About 60 on Sonic. Nair Becker, nice damage wrecking right there. Pressures the platform, very well done. Just this stock is looking good. This stock is looking good for Tarik. I like the counter as well. That surprise option could have spelled the end for Sonic. One of the only counters that rewards you with a KO from that position specifically. So Tarik just pulling out all of the tricks. He heard what I said. He needs to get that win. But meanwhile, Super Striker has slowly sneaked his way back into the game. Look at the percentages. We're back to just about even. Now Tarik needs to find one of those down tilts that he likes to look for. Find one of those KO moves. The forward air is not quite gonna do it. And now advantage state is on.
Even percents, but still a big stock lead for Super Striker right now. So Tarik has to be very careful with how he plays this final stock. He needs to make sure not to overextend. He needs to make sure he finds his critical openings. A lovely grab right there. Not going to get the KO with the back throw. We are nearing the range where the up throw is going to KO, and forward throw should be able to KO at the ledge as well.
Ooh,
but who needs either of those when you get the forward air killing off the top?
Very well done, Tarik. Now evening up the stocks, so it is possible. It is possible. Let's see how well he does at making the comeback happen. We've seen him do it before. We saw how explosive his play can be when we play against Free Talks. And even though this is not Min, right? Sonic's disadvantage quite a bit better. It's still Tarik's momentum and his ability to set up that momentum from seemingly nowhere that is so impressive to me.
Yeah. Oh, tries to chase him for the spring.
Spring ride almost coming through. Shoutouts to Ixes. That did not work right there. Tarik was ready enough, and again a spring ride attempt. I told you, Verum, how many times do we have to put this out there? Super Striker will try to find any kill in any situation possible. The back air jump read, the spring ride, the forward smash, hypno smash. It's all coming out here, and I would say it looks like Super Striker might be a little bit pressured if he is fishing for the KO this hard.
Yeah, being in this kind of situation where you had that massive lead early on, you were up 3 stocks to 1, and now suddenly there's a chance that you could lose this game from that position is always nerve-wracking. It takes a lot to be able to kind of maintain one's composure in those instances. But Tarik's still having a little bit of a hard time finding another hit. There's another opening, very crucial. Gets him off stage, but...
Jordan, I want to point you to the timer. 50 seconds. We're getting close to the end. And that is why I was cringing, because like Tarik needed to get the most out of that one hit, and now Super Striker capitalizing on Tarik's down. Tarik even mixed it up. Tarik did a down air, didn't even land, and then did a double jump down air to mix it up. But Super Striker was so late in reacting that he beat the mix up. I think on accident. He could have been ready for it, but honestly, I don't really see Greninja do down air, jump down air out of disadvantage quite often. Either way, Super Striker getting another win on the board. Big.
Yeah, very big. 2-0 up in this best of 5 set. In this best of 5 losers semis, he is at the cusp of reaching that losers finals, reaching that potential run back versus Luigi from earlier. But of course, Tarik's not down and out just yet. I'm wondering if we're going to see a potential character swap from Tarik after that performance with the Greninja. He was really doing a good job bringing that back in the latter part of that game too, but who knows? Maybe it's worth him trying out the Byleth for this final game, seeing how it goes. No, sticking with that iconic pink Greninja, staying on PS2 this whole time. And
yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. I was thinking the same thing as you, Verum. I was like, should he be going for a secondary here, because the Greninja doesn't seem to be working out? But at the same time, Byleth against Sonic, that sounds like a struggle. And like we mentioned before, Pokemon Trainer probably doesn't do the greatest against Sonic either. So I think Greninja, sticking to the Greninja is a good choice. And like you said, the comeback was a good indication that Tarik has it in him. He just needs to find the right plays. And so far, he's been finding them. 69 on Super Striker. looking steady, Nair coming through, and this is that Nair was interesting because it was Tarik intercepting Sonic, and we talked about this a lot in the previous game, how Greninja doesn't really have the best interceptions, but Tarik kind of compensating for that with hard call-outs with these neutral airs, and that one neutral air to forward air led into all this advantage state, and now look at the percents, now look at that Gallop attack almost leading into a KO in Tarik's favor. Another forward air is gonna strike, and I'm surprised that Tarik keeps landing these on Wi-Fi. That's not an easy move to hit. It's quite slow, and while it is big, it's not super meaty. So far, looking pretty strong, Tarik. He's trying to weasel his way in, trying to end this stock. If he finds the KO here, that would be huge for him.
And have you noticed, just the way that Tarik is playing in general, it's a lot more slow-paced than it was in the previous games. He's more than happy to kind of play in the corners. A lot of what he was playing before was trying to occupy center stage, but here we see him more than happy to sit in the corners, press that shuriken, wait for Super Striker to approach him, and then respond in kind, particularly with those landing aerials, particularly with more shurikens.
Yep. Very sharp. Yeah, he has been slowing the pace down. And look at this. He has a lead. He just says, I'm going to stand here, and I'm going to wait for you to approach me. Oh, you approach the mid-range now? That is where I win. So I'll get the landing fair. Very, very cool, methodical, and I like that. I like that. You need to do that against Sonic, because aggression against Sonic just isn't a wise decision. You need to have a good balance of positional awareness, as well as a little bit of willingness to make the right reads to prevent Sonic from aggressing on you, right? And that is what Tarik is doing, getting those interceptions at the right moment. And so far, it's been working out extremely well. Super Striker does a normal get up forward smash. Who raised him? However, looking at that, the up B forward air and the spin dash forward air, just 1-2, finding that KO. Exactly what he needed. We're back to just about even.
Yeah, that was a superb edge guarding sequence from Super Striker right there. And so far, it feels like a lot of this game, he's been doing a pretty good job trying to call out Tarik's jumps in particular. He's using the spin dash, he's using the back airs, he's using the up airs to try to intercept Tarik as he's coming down from his jumps. Greninja's obviously, as we mentioned before, very jump-heavy character, so it's important for Super Striker to really nail those interceptions.
Yeah. 100% agree, and so far he nailing those interceptions is exactly what he's been doing. Looking at the percents real quick, we see a lead for Super Striker, and Tarik, is he losing his composure? Right there, the back air just ending that stock, and now Super Striker, he's looking extremely strong. He's looking extremely strong. Finding an early KO with Sonic is it's the worst case scenario, right? If Sonic KOs you before 150, something like that, you're in for a world of hurt. So Tarik now, you can see it, he's dashing across the entire stage. He wants to make a play happen, and like I said, the composure seems to be lost, and that cannot happen against Sonic. Tarik looks to be relying purely on momentum here as he goes for up smash after up smash, none of them striking true, and it seems to be curtains for Tarik. The down tilt up smash is going to connect though, 67% on Tarik, and he is behind against Sonic. The timer is not looking pretty either. Super Striker finds a grab, does get mashed out, and now Tarik, okay, the air dodge in. Not quite going to connect into a KO. Well, Jordan, tell me a little bit of what do you think Tarik needs to do here to make the comeback happen?
I think what he needs to do is be willing to kind of slow the pace down, but not too much. Obviously, as you mentioned before, the timer is not on his side. He needs to kind of find this healthy middle ground between, picking his points to go in, as well as choosing when to kind of sit back in the corner and throw those shurikens.
Yep.
It's a really tough middle ground to strike versus a Sonic at the deficit, because for all they care, they don't really have to go in. That almost random forward smash from the center of the stage. Tries to hard read the roll in. I'm not sure about that commitment because it lost him the game. That is going to be Tarik on the board in that game 3.
Miracles exist, ladies and gentlemen. That was, what the hell was that? And Jordan, the crazy thing is, I was listening to you talk, and while you were saying it, I saw exactly what you were explaining happening right before my eyes. Tarik found that middle ground, found his moments of aggression, found his moment of defense, made Super Striker overcommit, made Super Striker play too passively, and at the end of the day, it's that composure. Tarik might have lost his for a second, regained it, and then Super Striker was the one who didn't have his composure on deck, and we saw that, like you said, the hard read on the roll wasn't what he was looking for, and bada bing, bada boom, down to the up smash, Greninja, totally fair character, gets the comeback win on deck. Of course, I'm just playing, guys. Tarik is an amazing player. And like we said, it's hard to make a comeback against Sonic. And I think being able to make it from that position of getting red on your air dodge with the back air, dying at like pre 100, that is just insane in terms of mental composure as well.
Yeah, definitely. This will give Tarik a lot of momentum going into the next few games. Going on to Battlefield in this game 4, how do we feel about this stage for Sonic versus Greninja?
Okay, so my personal opinion is that Greninja is pretty good on Battlefield. However, most Greninjas don't like Battlefield because it prevents, it limits your full hop movement a lot. That said, you can still get around with your short hops. You can still full hop to center, full hop to the corners. The platforms actually give you really easy access to like run of nairs, drop through nairs, which are extremely strong, right? You can treat a platform kind of like a Peach float in that it gives you a ton of landing aerials. And as you may know, Virim, like landing aerials in this game are absolutely insane. Very, very strong tools. And we can see that in, for example, Tweek's play, right? So when Tweek plays Wolf, especially, we see a lot of that jumping to the platform, mixing up a drop through aerial, run of aerials, short hop from the platform aerials, run off from one side, the other side. There's so many variations. And so far, though, Super Striker is the one using the platforms himself, waiting out the Greninja neutral, and as soon as he gets a solid idea of what Tarik is going for, got that homing, that spin shot, or the neutral B on the Shuriken campaign. Very, very well done for that early lead for Super Striker, and right now, that lead is looking to be pushed further and further as Tarik struggles to find his footing.
That was a lovely read from Super Striker right there. Assumes the high recovery coming out from Tarik, which is a little bit off from the spacing for the punish. Now, of course, Tarik's turn, immediately taken back by Super Striker. One of the things that's really tricky is how does Tarik kind of isolate, well, how do both of these characters kind of isolate each other to the corners now that they have those platforms to play with, as well as that center one to retreat to. Both of these characters have ways to kind of quickly evade to that center platform if they need to.
Yep, and I think it's so unique about Sonic, right? Because Sonic is one of the only characters who does really well both on Final Destination, basically the flattest stage in the game, as well as Battlefield, the most platform-heavy stage in the game. Outside of arguably Yoshi's, right? But the point still stands. He does well on both stage archetypes, so to say, and it's because he's really good at advantage when there's a flat stage, but he's really good at disadvantage when he has the platforms, right? So he benefits from both, and we can see that in this game. Like you said, it's hard to keep him locked down. It's hard to keep him in the corner. It's hard to keep him in disadvantage because he just side Bs and lands on the platform, and you cannot contest it. And from that consistency, he builds up a slow lead, finds that one hit he needs. Greninja off stage, not looking pretty, fights a forward air, and now, again, Tarik on the back foot. Let's see if he can make that magic happen again.
Finding these errant hits here and there, a stray neutral air, but not the big confirms that we're used to seeing from Tarik. Tarik's usually very, very good at kind of aggressively pressing his advantage when he gets the hits and getting those solid 1-2 confirms, but Super Striker absolutely in the driver's seat right now. Goes for the forward smash again, tries to go for a hard read on that air dodge, just a little bit off on the timing, but the idea was definitely there.
Viren, you're doing so well. You were talking about Tarik's tendency to find the big hits, and he got the Shadow Sneak read, that big hit that he needed. A little bit off on the execution, but Tarik's, the essence of his playstyle, that core, that that threat that is constantly looming over his opponent, that he could find that big hit at the snap of his fingers, that is such a core element to his game plan. However, Super Striker, like we mentioned time and time again, much the same, likes to find those big KO moves in a neutral. The back air from the ledge, another one of those big KO moves. Empty hop forward smash, another one of those big KO moves. They just keep coming. And guys, in my opinion, the best way to find KOs is to put your opponent in advantage, like Tarik did there, put them on the ledge, put them in the juggle, put them off stage, and then lead that into a kill. However, Super Striker having none of that, just finding the up smash on the respawn, that looks silly, but it worked. It worked for sure. And it's just solidifying that lead in this game for Tarik. It's now or never, man.
Well, we saw this pretty much exact same situation in the previous game as well, and Tarik was able to mount that comeback, but I think after getting that kind of up smash that Super Striker was able to get right there, that just kind of gave him a little bit of extra momentum. You know, he's definitely feeling himself off that one. Lovely back pass here.
Yeah, he caught the jump, so now he gets to catch the air dodge. He doesn't get to push it though, because Super Striker goes for an early up B, a little bit of a 50-50, late up B, early up B, and Super Striker getting the right read right there, fighting a big confirm, the spin dash into the back air, and every single hit that Super Striker gets is so very important. Look at all the damage being wrecked. Waiting for the air dodge, not capitalizing on it though. Super Striker getting the whiff punish on the dash attack in neutral. Tarik just looks to be he just looks to be fishing for any sort of hit. We see the dash attack trying to intercept the spin dash. It's not enough. The shurikens getting intercepted by Super Striker's dash attacks, just making sure that Tarik has no time to even slow the game down. And I like that adaptation by Super Striker a lot. He realized, hey, if I give Tarik too much room, he's gonna mount a comeback. So I have to keep the pressure on. And that's what he's doing. Look at the pressure. The up smash coming out. The back air coming out. He's saying, Tarik, if you make one mistake, that's gonna be curtains for your stock. But like we saw in the last game, those commitments could be punished quite heavily, especially by a character like Greninja. The Dragon Ball would almost be the end there.
That was a crazy trade, but yeah, exactly as you were saying, you could definitely see that Super Striker is off the pace of his gameplay. Those dash attacks, I was going to point that out before as well, but that was a beautiful observation right there. The usage of those dash attacks to prevent Tarik from really setting up his long-range game with the shurikens has been really, really key in terms of how he's been playing this particular game and how he's been adapting overall. Granted, again, we can't count Tarik out yet. This was a very similar deficit to what we saw beforehand. One solid forward air in the corner, one grab will be the end of Super Striker's stock here. One excellent cooldown on that jump from the center platform. 154% rage.
Yeah, but here's the deal, man. 1 minute on the clock, and it's Battlefield. We talked about Sonic defense. If Tarik wants to make a play happen here, it's going to be extra rough. Those platforms are going to make it that much easier for Sonic to get out of disadvantageous situations. So Tarik has to reach deep into the bag of tricks, deep into his player experience, because this is probably the hardest comeback he would have to make. And at the end of the day, Super Striker, not being from the UK, he is from Belgium, making that win happen and advancing into the losers finals. Of course, Tarik showing an excellent performance, bowing out at 4th place. Very, very respectable.
Yeah, that was magnificent from Super Striker right at the end there. And actually, that was something that we saw quite a lot within that last game in particular. He was doing a really good job after he's connecting those spin dashes, the spin charges even, into the jumps. He was doing a really good job of reading Tarik's jumps all the way up until the end there. He was ready to catch the jumps with the spring jump and intercept those forward airs. He took, I believe, 2 of those stocks in that game thanks to that. Just really, really great adaptation overall coming out from Super Striker, and he'll get his opportunity to get the run back versus Lugi up next. But of course, next up will be, we'll have that setup coming after some replays, but we'll see those in a sec. How do you feel about that? How that set played overall, Ramses?
It was interesting. The focus was so much on making the comebacks happen because both of these players look to be so decisive in their decisions. And while I like that, I like the assertiveness, and I like the fact that you go with your instinct, I cannot help but believe you open yourself up to the comebacks, right? So if you think about Super Striker, we're going to see it in the replay soon, but just finding those hard reads in the neutral with the back air, Oh, look at that, the dodge with the Shadow Sneak, and then, again, the hard read, the forward smash, and that really is the name of the game for Super Striker. He looks for KO after KO in a neutral, and the same, honestly, same is kind of true for Tarik, and that decisiveness, that battle of the big hits, basically, that is what decided this game. There we saw the cheeky double down air mix-up that somehow got beaten out, and here we see Super Striker, of course, evening it back up with the double forward air. Ooh.
And of course, this was that critical game that Tarik was able to take even from the deficit. We saw Super Striker overextend towards the end there, and Tarik was able to capitalize beautifully. The interception, but again, here's the closing moment. Chasing up with the spring jump into the forward air. And once again, Super Striker moving on to the losers finals, where he will get his run back versus Lugi. That was, of course, a clean 3-0 from Lugi